The lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
From Talladega Superspeedway, the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series is ready to get it on here at our sport's largest oval. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the fastest and biggest superspeedway on the circuit here in Alabama. I'm Dave Regal here in the broadcast booth, and I'll be with you every step of the way, from the green flag to the checkered flag, right here on Sim Racing Media. Well, everyone, qualifying underway here tonight. As right now, fastest on the timing line is Claude Ferland, as he's finishing a little bit of an extra lap, if you will, as he comes across the start-finish line. Ferland going on a 55.47 second lap. Matt White just getting lined up here on his opening lap. We're gonna ride along with Matt here, as he is definitely one of the kings of speed in this series. You'll have to forgive me tonight, folks. Working a little weak here, as working with a little bit of an injury, but nothing serious. Just making me feel a little down. But needless to say, I'm very excited for this race tonight at Talladega. Of course, my favorite racetrack, a racetrack dominated by names like Earnhardt and everybody who was a big fan of Dale Jr. back in the mid-2000s knows that this was a place where, when I was a kid, at least I knew that my driver had some kind of an edge coming in. And, of course, the other thing that's got my attention tonight, and hopefully yours too as well, is, of course, playoff baseball underway right now on ESPN. The Philadelphia Phillies hosting the Miami Marlins with 2 on and 1 out in the bottom of the first. Phillies threatening to strike early. Over on ESPN2, the Diamondbacks and Brewers are all knotted up with 2 out and 2 on in the bottom of the third. So some wild card action there. We'll be checking in on that all night long. Don't you worry. As Matt White finishing up his second lap, he's going to take it real low here through the tri-oval. Now remember, the start-finish line here at Talladega is actually beyond the midway point of the tri-oval. It's actually just past the exit to pit road, and as Matt crosses, he goes fastest now with a 55.43, so he beats out Claude Ferland by 0.04 of a second. Jeff Carson out of Cross Junction, Virginia, out in his opening lap now. And look at that, Mr. Chris Claude just went third fastest on the timing line. Chris Claude out of Fairview, Tennessee, just getting himself tightened up here as he's going to come through. Each of these drivers having a little bit of additional time to get wound up on the racetrack, as Chris going to come out back into the tri-oval. It looks like he's going to stay on the yellow line, not below it, coming through. And as he gets ready to cross the start-finish line, like I said, just beyond the exit to pit road, Chris is going to lay down a 55.49 and stay third there on our timing line. Now, Jeff Carson, he's still out here finishing the first actually timed lap. So everybody getting about 3 laps here. And of course, we are in race number 2 of our playoff round of 8 here. We'll take a look at that momentarily as Jeff Carson hauls it down the front stretch once again, crosses the start-finish line, and Jeff posts 5th fastest. Looks like Tony Burt qualifying in 12th position right now. McAdoo, Pennsylvania's John Wilco yet to go out there. And points leader Channing Ballou out of Pensacola, Florida, just getting started now. In fact, let's talk points here. Channing Ballou currently leading our round of 8 here. He's got 10 wins on the season. He's been dominant here in the Truck Series. He's followed by Brandon Minto, Sylvain Joly, Claude Ferland, Gabriel Lafreniere, Aaron Mack, John Wilco, and Jeremy Paris. And looking from the outside in is Tony Burt, but I talked to Tony just before coming on air, and Tony Burt is fairly certain that he's going to put up quite a fight tonight to finish somewhere on, near, or at the top of our podium. Jeff Carson putting it away for the time being. Let's pull up that race info as we get started here. 74 degrees if you're in the stands tonight here in Talladega. Of course, a pretty comfortable night for the fans, virtual or not. However, that track temperature, 96 degrees. That's going to allow for some slip sliding around, if you will, as that's going to make for some really fast speeds that are going to be generated by these trucks. We're going to be watching that draft, of course, which is always important. 100 total scheduled laps tonight, so plenty of time to boogie around this 2.66 mile beast. Stage 1 going to end at lap 20, Stage 2 going to end at the conclusion of lap number 40. The interesting thing, though, is that there's going to be 4 sets of tires for this event tonight. So they'll be laying 3, using 4. And, of course, when we say that, you think to yourself, gee, 4 sets of tires. Yeah, in all reality, with 100 total laps, that's a set of tires every 25 laps. So, obviously, everybody going to be coming in at the end of Stage 1. Everybody, going to be coming in at the end of Stage 2. Then you've got an extra one there to play with. So the question becomes, can you squeeze those tires out between 1 and 2, or do you try to squeeze that out between 2 and 3? Of course, for most drivers, I'm betting that we're going to see them keep that set of tires from Stage 1, from what they pick up during Stage 1 through 2. And that way they can keep 1 in the bank going into Stage 3. But we'll take a look at that as we get further on through the night. Of course, fuel window going to be highly important too, as the warm-up session has begun here. Once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast Booth. Dave Regal with you as always. Glad to have everybody with us tonight. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you subscribe and turn on those bell notifications to Sim Racing Media right here on YouTube.com. And if you're watching us, make sure that you're letting us know in the YouTube.com live chat who you're pulling for, what else you want to chat about tonight. Because with 100 laps and this many cars out on track, we're going to have plenty of time to talk. Claude Furland out here getting warmed up. We're going to see if we can find points leader Channing Blue, as it looks like he's currently playing a little bump draft here with the 27. That's Randall Watkins. See if we can get a hold of Channing. And unfortunately, I cannot find our points leader. But that's okay. We'll get a hold of Brandon Minto. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, Dave.
Well, man, I couldn't find our points leader, so I'll go to number 2 here. How are you feeling tonight here in the round of 8?
It's Talladega, so I don't really know how I'm feeling. I love racing here. It's probably my favorite track to race at on here, but literally anything can happen at tracks like this in Daytona. I may luck out and finish the race without a scratch on my truck, or I could get totaled in turn 1. So you never know at Talladega. Anything can happen, but I'm always excited for racing here.
Yeah, Talladega back during my driving days was always a lot of fun to race at. You can hold it wide open, and especially in these trucks, they're so stable in the draft. They're not too wild, but that rear end can kick out on you. And right now you've got Steve Herring drafting behind you. How is the draft, when you've got 4, 5, 6, 7 cars with you?
Very powerful, but it all depends on whoever that lead truck is. Hopefully they got a good car or a good truck that's fast and everything. And as long as the pusher's stable and the lead car's holding the straight line, then I don't know how many trucks in total you really need to make it go a lot faster, or if just 2 trucks are able to handle it all by themselves. But it's very stable behind everybody, and I practiced quite a bit this week, so hopefully I'm not swerving all over the place.
I'll be honest with you. Here at Talladega, I've watched 2 and 3 trucks catch the lead pack. As long as those 2 or 3 trucks are organized, they're fine. It's the minute that you get that one squirrel that doesn't want to stay with the rest of the herd.
Absolutely. As long as everybody stays in a straight single file line, you can definitely make up a lot of time, whether that's we're going to have to, I think, in stage 3, I think we're going to have green flag pit stops. I don't know if Fuel's going to be able to make it. I'm pretty sure it won't be able to make it the whole stage. So maybe there might be a few trucks that decide to short pit because they can see that they have a lot better speed running by themselves instead of running with the pack. So we'll see all sorts of different strategies tonight.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, listen, good luck. And we will see you perhaps on the other side.
Oh, I sure hope so. Have a good one, Dave.
That, of course, the great
As that gets
Brandon
thrown
Minto.
out.
Let me try to put him back up here into his Further Motorsports chat. You'll have to forgive me as I'm dealing with some hiccups on top of everything else that's going on medically. So, you know, nothing like a little bit of a hiccup, if you will. About 35 seconds left in our warm-up situation here. We're currently watching Claude Ferland chase down Channing Blue, who's leading a small pack right now. You can see this pack of 5. We'll pull up the dashboard of Ferland, who's going 186 down here into turn 3. Now we'll look here at Channing Blue as well, as Ballew's going to start to wash up. Oh, maybe not the time to switch over to Ballew as we go back to Ferland. But 180 miles per hour as they come through the tri-oval. So it's going to be fast, it's going to be hot. And these drivers are going to be experiencing some interesting conditions. And just as we see, Tony Burt, who's my pick to win this race tonight, comes across the start-finish line just in the nick of time, if you will. But that will conclude our warm-up session here. We'll get our qualifying results here on screen for you folks at home. Drivers getting all gridded up here. A couple of Canadians in the field as usual. 19 drivers going to be taking the green flag once we get there, as we're still waiting for our front row drivers to get into the cars. We can see all of these drivers, just 2 free agents. Everybody else associated with one of the race teams that we've had all season long, as Matt White and Claude Ferland finally get into the cars. Obviously making just some last-minute choices here and some adjustments, if you will. So we're going to get a chance now to see our pole sitter from Stewartville, Minnesota, Matt White, roll across the start-finish line. Roll across the start-finish line. There he goes. As now everything's going to be all jumbled up, but Matt White and Claude Ferland going to be on the front row, as Matt White has the pole. Claude Ferland going to be on the outside. Row number 2 going to be made up of Brandon Minto and chief cook and bottle washer in the SNN Cup Series, Mr. Chris Claude out of Fairview, Tennessee. Sylvain Jolie from Saint-Eustache, Quebec, here in the 08, going to be on the outside of Jeff Carson in row number 3. Row number 4 made up of Randall Watkins and Aaron Mack. Row number 5 going to feature Zach Osborne and, again, another neighbor from the north from Saint Jude, Gabriel Lafreniere. He's going to be in his 06 Ford F-150. Tony Burt, my buddy from Hedgesville, West Virginia, going to be starting in the number 4 Chevrolet Silverado on the inside of row number 6, with Ron Fitting from Sumter, South Carolina on his outside. Row number 7 going to feature Ray Ferreira and Rich Jett in the double natural from Schwanksville, Pennsylvania, while our points leader, Channing Blue, going to be starting in row number 8 with John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania. Jeremy Paris out of Flowery Branch, Georgia, going to be starting on the inside of row number 9 with Steve Herring in the number 89 in 18th. Starting shotgun on the field, however, is Sean Kelly, but he will certainly be making some headway tonight, as the iRacing.com pace car going to be bringing us through that 3-4 complex. And like I said earlier, folks, we always have to remember that, here at Talladega, that start-finish line is beyond the middle of the tri-oval like we see in our typical oval tracks. So the iRacing.com pace car going to have to let Matt White to his own devices for quite a while tonight. But right now, they're ready. They're getting set. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. They're waiting. Everybody's waiting as that field comes through here. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, grab some popcorn, call a friend, settle in, because we're green flag racing at Talladega Superspeedway. as they come through the tri-oval and cross the start-finish line. Claude Furlan going to get credit for leading lap number 1 here of 100, as now we're working lap number 2 on our way toward lap number 20. Of course, we're going to start to see some of these trucks form their lines and get their alliances ready, as Matt White already abandoning Furlan, as maybe he decided that Furlan wasn't a good leader. He obviously made the right decision as he was able to bring along that top line. So obviously some speed and momentum in the top line here on the high side. 3 wide is the 16, oh my, of Zach Osborne. Just put the 06 Oxmoor of Gabriel Lafreniere here in the middle. That's where our mess is going to start, I can assure you, if we don't get organized fast. That's something that we're going to keep our eyes on right here, as Zach Osborne trying to work the high side all by himself. Now he's crawling up alongside of Randall Watkins. He's going to bring along Sean Kelly on the extreme high line, as now he puts the 27 of Watkins, the meat in that sandwich. Don't touch your throttle, folks. Ooh, the 10 of Chris Claude nearly making contact with Sylvain Joly. And meanwhile, my goodness, Zach Osborne making it work somehow all by his lonesome with Randall Watkins in tow. And now they're going to be running out of momentum here, as it looks like Sylvain Joly finally going to put a stop to that march. And closing the door going to be Ray Ferreira. So unless, there it goes, Sylvain Joly wants to come along, they got to be careful getting around White at the front of this piece. Already battles for the lead is now Sylvain Joly, your race leader. He's going to use Zach Osborne to get up to the lead and now drop him off and abandon him. Thanks for the push. As we are still 3 wide, that's Randall Watkins, Gabriel Lafreniere, and Brandon Minto on the bottom. Minto hugging the yellow line. That'll at least be a good escape pod if all bad things break loose here. And speaking of breaking loose, Sylvain Joly, Matt White, and Gabriel Lafreniere now pushing their way through. This is an interesting decision at the beginning of this race, as Ray Ferreira going to come along with them. All of this fighting, and Zach Osborne slides back into 5th position after he was such a good pusher there for Matt White. Now he's going to tuck himself back in behind Ray Ferreira, and now we're going to get some racing done as we're here on lap number 5 of 100 here at Talladega. Right now, the way she runs, it's Sylvain Joly, Matt White, Ray Ferreira, Gabriel Lafreniere, and Zach Osborne, your top 5. But that's going to be continually changing even through the field as we're taking a look right now. Oh my, the 27 of Randall Watkins thinking about taking it 3 wide again. I can't see that as being a very good choice, as Matt White just drove to the inside. Now Matt White thinking he can get around faster through this piece as we come through turn number 1. Two by two, please, as if we're going right on down to Mark, as they are 2 by 2 all the way through 13th position. That's held right now by Ron Fitting and now Chris Clark. Jeff Carson hanging out in the backyard here, just waiting for an opening. And more so, he's just hanging behind Chris, as that'll keep him attached to that front pack. But if one person makes a mistake, it's all over, because with just 19 cars taking the lead lap, or taking the green flag, if that front 13 has the big one happen, all of a sudden we're only going to have 6 left without damage. Randall Watkins yet again just threw it down here to the inside. He's currently chasing down Claude Furlan. And right now, Tony Burt mounting a charge here on the outside, as he sees an opening and he wants wants to draft right up behind Channing Ballou, or I'm sorry, the 23 of Sean Kelly. Points to Channing Ballou just hanging out in back, not looking to make a move just yet. As we will have some good pack racing all night long. You know, fortunately, with two short stages, to 20 and 40, that'll keep these drivers close together. And now they're getting a little swirl. Oh, the 8 and the 48 make contact here coming out of 2 down the backstretch. That's going to shuffle Matt White all the way back. He's decided maybe he doesn't want to be there. But that opens the door for Aaron Mack, who won the Xfinity race. Wow. Who won the Xfinity race at Daytona earlier in this season in the Xfinity Series. Matt White now looking to see how he can get back up front. Just pretty much drove in reverse and dropping in front of Tony Bird. And that'll take all the momentum away from Bird, as it looks like, as Aaron Mack swings to the outside, that's going to allow Chris Claude to catch a lot of movement here and suck up to the rear of the 27. Now watch this. Watch the way that Chris Claude's about to suck into the back of the 27. He's got a heck of a run going into 3. Now he's going to have to be careful on that throttle coming into 3 to make sure that he doesn't eat the bumper of the 27. But he's got just the right amount of distance to be hooked into that draft. And if he gets one truck right behind him, they can all of a sudden make all kinds of moves all at once here, as we're just about halfway through stage number 1. Here in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series, live on Sim Racing Media, YouTube.com. As you're sitting here with Dave Regal in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We're glad to have everyone with us tonight. As you take a peek over here, looks like Addison DeRosiers saying "Go Minto," and N. Casey cheering on for King Ray. Glad to have you folks with us. As always, I'm glad to have you folks at home watching us, because without you guys at home, we'd have nobody to talk to. Oh, contact between the 48 and the 31, but Aaron Mack manages to keep it alive as the 48 just gave him a shot. Let's see exactly what happened right there. We're going to run that back. That was a little too close for comfort, as we're going to zoom right here in on the 48. And we're going to see him come right up behind the 31 as he just, and everybody managing to keep it steady. And that, you know what, folks, to be completely honest, that is what makes these drivers so special in this league. They were just able to hold that together without causing the big one. You know, safety is such a big deal here in the SNN family of racing series. And, of course, they follow the IPL, the incidents per lap. That can affect your position not only in the race but in the standings, because if you wind up getting too many points, incident points, you can wind up suspended for a race or two. As Ray Ferreira, who was just being cheered on by N. Casey in our YouTube.com live chat, now your leader, he's side by side with Brandon Minto out of Norman, Oklahoma. Of course, Minto should just about be ready to start sipping those Miller Lights, as I know he does with his uncle every week during these races, as they are 3 wide behind them. That's Zach Osborne, Sylvain Jolie, and Aaron Mack. As now we've got 3 rows of 3 wide. That's 9 trucks, 3 wide, and my God. You can already see the way that Matt just pushed in the rear bumper of the 31, making it almost a V shape. And I mean, you have to watch these, you know, you really have to understand what's going on inside these cars, as we're going to take a ride here with Randall Watkins. Now Watkins is holding on right here behind Matt White. And I mean, the distance between them is hundredth of a second, if not. And you can hear Randall lifting off that throttle to keep himself from running into White. And even now we can see Zach Osborne getting ready to push Lafreniere down through turn number 3. The amount of stress that these drivers are under is completely insane right about now. Holding it wide open is Aaron Mack from Fort Riley, Kansas, as he's going to draft up right here behind the 27 of Randall Watkins. He's going to give him a bump going into turn number 1. That's going to shove Watkins further up the line, but they're not going to be able to make that work. As we can see, Ron Fitting here on the low side along with Chris Clark holding their own. Now all of a sudden Mack going to dive in. That's going to leave Watkins on the outside. Sylvain Jolou, Brandon Mitchell, Gabriel Lafreniere, Zach Osborne, Ray Ferreira, and Claude Ferland, your top 6. There are 9 trucks, 3 wide here, past the start-finish line, and as we see this week in and week out at a smaller racetrack, that wouldn't be possible. There's plenty of room here at Talladega Superspeedway. Of course, this speedway was the brainchild of Big Bill France back in the late 60s, and I'll tell you what, he looked at what he had in Daytona and said, I can do that. And he managed to build this behemoth of asphalt in Alabama, just outside of Birmingham. And my goodness, what an incredible racetrack he built. I mean, this is one of my favorite places to come on the schedule. And, you know, day in and week out, we see so much competition at our racetracks. And now it just gets better and better. Need an arc? I know it why. As they are 2x2 all the way back to Tony Bird, who's alongside of Ron Fitting. Tony Bird 12th position, so 12 cars side by side. Then Sean Kelly and Jeff Carson hanging back here just a little bit further as Channing Ballou has a little 4-car pack that he's just kind of hanging out with back here. It's him. But the weird one is John Wilco, who is totally off pace right now. He's actually nearly 4 seconds behind Jeremy Paris, and now more than 4 seconds. So John Wilco going to start to watch things bleed away for him time-wise. Now, that could be beneficial if something happens toward the end of stage 1 here, especially, oh, speak of the Devils, here we go. Claude Ferland is around and around, and this should be the end of stage 1. Oh, no. Let's see what happened here. Let's take a look right from the beginning as Zach Osborne in the 16 just collects. Oh. Now Osborne manages to scoot away with next to no issue. So let's see if we can find where the impetus of this was. In fact, we'll ride along with Tony Bird here, if we can. Forgive me as I'm working alone, folks, so it makes it a little harder to do. But we'll get right in here with Tony Bird, and we'll watch this unfold from right in his perspective. Oh. Of course, we can hear Tony get on the binders early and obviously unhurt and unfazed. Just trying to find here a better position as we're going to look from above Claude Furland. And we can see once again just, Furland getting turned. And one last look at this. My goodness. So wholesale pit stop's going to be underway, and that'll put Gabriel Lafreniere atop the pile, as that will conclude stage number 1. So, of course, we're going to see a lot of drivers coming down pit road for extended service. As looks like Matt White, Jeff Carson, Aaron Mack, Zach Osborne, Ron Fitting, and Claude Furland all going to be down there for extended periods of time. That's going to make it where John Wilco, who was way off the pace there at literally the moment that this wreck happened, that's going to get him bunched back up with the rest of the field, so that could benefit him greatly. I see a few drivers with just 11-second pit stops, so they probably didn't take tires, they just took fuel. Gabriel Lafreniere, though, I'm pretty sure he may have taken just 2 tires at 7.57 seconds for his pit stop. Now, usually the lucky dog position is reserved for the person 1 lap down. Thank you, Microsoft. You can gladly get off my screen now. But we're going to step in here, and we're going to see if we can get the great Tony Burt, Chief Cook and Bottle Washer over at A Lot Cleaner Property Management and Maintenance, in the broadcast booth. Hey, Tony, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me.
Hey, Dave. How are you, buddy? It did. I saw it developing. I told Chris, I said, it's getting ready to happen about 4 seconds before it happened. I went into third gear and downshifted and tapped my brakes and slowed down just a little bit. I think if I would not have done that, I would not be able to slow down enough. I think I'd have been caught up in it for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I was just mentioning to the fans at home about, John Wilco being as far off the pace as he was, and I said to the folks at home, hey, if something happens here in these closing laps of stage 1, he could wind up, at least
golden,
bunched back up with everybody else, and there he is. So, usually the lucky dog is reserved for somebody a lap down, but you're the lucky dog tonight for not getting involved in that one.
Yeah, that's a Lot Cleaner Silverado, man. It was cooking pretty good. I could move all around. I was the fastest lap there for a while, fastest time, but I was trying to be smart instead of fast.
Attaboy. All right, brother. Well, listen, congratulations on not getting involved in that, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Good talking to you.
As always, it's good talking to you, too, and we're going to move him back up into the Joe Gibbs Racing chat, as he's going to be hanging out with them tonight, because I'll tell you what, if there's 2 drivers you're going to watch that you don't often get to see toward the front, it's going to be Chris Claude and Tony Burt. For whatever reason, they work so well on these super speedways together that, just good things happen when they're near each other on a super speedway. And right now, Chris is going to be restarting in 8th, Tony in 5th. So they're going to have to do a little bit of navigating to get back together with one another. As the iRacing.com pace car going to get down here below the yellow line, while the drivers make that extended pace back toward the start-finish line. We see the man in the stand with the green flag in his hand We can see that he's waiting. They're waiting. Everybody's excited. This is where we're going to get going once again. One car down a lap. That's Matt White. He can hold on to that. As the green flag waves, we are back underway. Gabriel Lafreniere leading the field back through here, as that's going to be our first lap here under green in stage number 2. Once again, working our way toward lap number 40 for the end of stage number 2. As now Ray Ferreira takes the point away from Gabriel. Gabriel not going to worry too much, as we saw at the end of stage 1. All kinds of hell and happened. Now we see Sylvain Joly getting a push from Lafreniere. Getting a push from Tony Burt, as Tony says, I want to score more here. And he wants to get himself up ahead of all of the mayhem that could be. Tony getting a little squirrely behind Sylvain. So he's going to push him here up to the point. Now the question is, once you push your partner up here, do you drop down and try to take that lead line away? Or do you stay with that person and try to make something good happen? And what you see here more often than not on the Superspeedway is drivers on the top side, they're going to be pushing one another. For instance, like Tony Burt right now behind Sylvain Joly. That's basically a push. The lower line is more stable. It's not necessarily faster, as they're pretty well equal in that particular aspect. But you can get a little bit more speed here on the top side. And if those four trucks wanted to stay together, they could absolutely start to dominate there for a little while. As it looks like Gabriel still pushing around Ray Ferreira on the bottom has an edge. And the thing is, once you shove somebody up that high, do you want to thank them by dropping down and abandoning them on the top side, or do you want to bring them along and have them drop down as well, so that then the two of you can continue to work together on the bottom and see if you can't make up any more time? There's Tony Burt and Gabriel Lafreniere working together now. Chris Claude hiding just outside that front group, as he's got a little bit of distance between himself and Randall Watkins out of Miami, Florida. Now Watkins getting sucked up right to the rear of Lafreniere. Once again, Zach Osborne making it 3 wide here. Maybe a little early, as Osborne trying to work all by his lonesome on the high side. He's now side by side with the 23. That's Sean Kelly. And he decides to tuck back in, as maybe trying to go it alone. He couldn't get anybody to come with him and help to try to make any hay. Meanwhile, that empowered that low line to put a little bit more distance between themselves and Joly and Burt. And Casey here in our YouTube.com live chat claiming Gorilla Gas. So not sure what that is, but maybe it's like Gorilla Glue. As Tony Burton going on the high side all alone, this might cost him, as it looks like now he can get Zach Osborne to come along with him. This is going to be quite a move, as Osborne saying, "Here I come," and gets up. It's too late. They lost an opportunity to work together like that. Oh, that was close. They could have really made some hay together, as now that's going to shuffle Burt back into 9th position. And further is now Sylvain Joly going to be almost in the middle of a 3-wide situation. That's going to push Chris Claude up into 4th position. As I can't tell who that is. It looks like Sean Kelly not able to pick a lane. There they go. Now they're all wadded back together. Tony Burke going to snuggle in right behind Brandon Minto in the number 12 Miller Lite Chevrolet. Now Randall Watkins finding a partner in Chris Claude here on the high side. Claude going to be pushing Watkins through the middle of the triangle. Claude's going to have to get squared up behind him so that they can push together. All of a sudden, Lafreniere slides up in front of him, as now they're getting a little discombobulated. They're not near as straight and organized as they used to be. Looks like Tony Burke decided to get out of the draft and get out of the line of fire, as perhaps things getting a little too hot for him back here. And you know what? At this stage in the race, it's probably not a bad thing, as Ray Ferreira going to lead a lap here, as he's up 13 positions from where he had qualified at 14th. So he fought through all of that traffic to get up here to the point, and now battles for the lead alongside of Gabriel Lafreniere as they go fender to fender through the trioval. Crossing the start-finish line, Lafreniere has the edge this time. Here on lap number 29 of 100, working our way toward lap number 40. Watkins being pushed down the front stretch by Ray Ferreira, as he now has the edge just over the front headlights of Gabriel Lafreniere as they go 3 wide. Chris Claude trying to get back in the line behind Lafreniere. He's going to split the Canadians in half, as now Chris not able to hold it straight between Joly and Lafreniere. It's almost like he needs to get himself reset. We'll see if he can do that now coming down the backstretch. It looks like he'll be able to. Hold it together, Chris. As we can see once again, it's almost, you know, this is kind of old school plate racing, if you will, as we see Ferreira watching the momentum that top line is getting. He's going to slide back up in front of the top line, take some of that to stay ahead of Watkins, who loses the draft when he moves up. And he's basically able to hold back 6 drivers all at once. Maybe not this time around, but we were just watching him kind of bob and weave in front of everybody. Meanwhile, Tony Burt with a head of steam, whoa, goes 3 wide. He's holding on to the high side. This could be trouble, as Burt and Claude now have linked themselves up. Tony Burt going to be pushed along by the 08. That's Sylvain Joly. This is for all the marbles right now, as Joly going to be pushing around Tony Burt, as Tony Burt just got between the 2 Canadians. And Tony, wow, Chris Claude deciding he's going to take it 3 wide now. He's got Brandon Minto all over his rear bumper. This is quite a contest, folks, as we are 3 wide on lap 31 with 10 to go here in stage number 2. We should be taking a commercial break, but I can't stop watching this, as they are now 3 wide down into turns 1 and 2. Tony Burt with apparent names on either side of his West Virginian truck. Chris Claude, the Tennessean, he's got an Oklahoman behind him. As my goodness, folks, this is just the beginning of the excitement. Ray Ferreira, your race leader, he's got Gabriel Lafreniere timed second. Randall Watkins being timed in third. As right now, being the timing and scoring keeper for NASCAR has got to be a complete disaster. As they come through the tri-oval now, crossing for lap 33, Chris Claude being pushed to the point by Brandon Minto. Now Claude has a decision to make. Does he try to slide down? Nope, he's going to stay right where he is. He and Minto are working alone in the middle, and you have to understand the amount of turbulence that he's going to feel on either side of him from the drafts coming off of Ray Ferreira and Gabriel Lafreniere. Right now, holding that Toyota Tundra steady is trying to basically like herding cats. He's got the wheel bouncing back and forth on either side of his hand. We're going to drop right here into his counter and watch him hold on to it. There's Chris being pushed right here to the point. Chris Claude, your new race leader, as he is side by side with the fender. Take a look here from our helmet cam, as he's got just a little bit of an edge here over top of Minto now. As Chris Claude, your new race leader, is locked in and loaded for bear. I told you, folks, people like Chris Claude and Tony Burt at places like this, they suddenly become the Superspeedway whispers. That patience that they exude at the intermediate tracks really comes out to shine here at Superspeedways. At an intermediate track or a short track, you can't always be patient, but at a Superspeedway, a driver like Chris Claude or a driver like Tony Burt can absolutely come into the sun. And Chris Claude will be chasing his first league win here in the SNN family of races, and of course it's his league. So it'd be nice if you could get that here at the biggest stage in the South right now at 2.66 miles around Talladega. Folks, we're going to go NASCAR nonstop and take a break here on Sim Racing Media. I want to thank all of you for joining us this evening. I'm Dave Regal here in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. We'll be right back.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
2 laps to go here at the end of stage number 2. As we are 3 wide coming through turn 3, now into 4. Looks like it's going to be Ray Ferreira on the top side. He's got Brandon Minto on the low side, pushing along Zach Osborne back toward the start-finish line here on lap 39. Gabriel Lafreniere looking to see if he can get some kind of an edge with his teammate Sylvain Joly just behind him. On the last lap of stage 2, it looks like Gabriel Lafreniere still trying to muscle his way up past Zach Osborne, as Zach Osborne being pushed around by Brandon Minto. And out of nowhere comes Tony Burton, the 18 of Ray Ferreira. Now he just drops Ferreira off on the bottom. He's got Ron Fitting behind him, Fitting all over the place. That's not going to be helpful for Tony Burton. As now Zach Osborne, your race leader, leading us down the front stretch once again. As we come through the tri-oval, we're going to see just what's going to happen when they cross the start-finish line. Oof. That one's pretty close to call. But looks like as the checkered flag flies, Ray Ferreira going to be your stage 2 winner. Hey, Jared, it's Dave up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy? Hey, Jared, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Is it Ray or Jared tonight?
I go by my middle name, which is Jared.
All right, then. So for timing and scoring purposes, you're Ray, but for everybody else, you're Jared. Listen, congratulations on the win here in Stage 2. You got pushed up there by Tony Burton. Unfortunately, he had no help behind him, so he wound up dropping you off to get the green and white checkered flag. How's that truck feel tonight?
It's fast. It's real fast. Handling really good. It pushes extremely good. And that's where I'm more comfortable right now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the amount of push that you were getting was incredible, but to watch you behind the other drivers was exciting just to see how much you were able to shove them down the racetrack, because you weren't pushing, you were shoving.
Yeah, this thing, it sucks up. I got the nose almost completely sealed all the way around the track. So it sucks up really good, and once I get attached, it's on.
Well, as you bring the number 18 down pit road, are you going to be making any adjustments, or are you thinking about keeping it just the way it is?
4 fresh tires and fuel, that's it.
Attaboy. Well, listen, congratulations on Stage 2, and maybe we'll see you at the end here in Victory Lane.
I hope so.
All right, we're going to move him back up to the Jack Dowel Motorsports race chat. Brandon Minto coming off pit road first, so he obviously had a fast lap here. We'll see what happened here in just a moment after I get some of these graphics wiped out of the way. As we see Brandon Minto only being down pit road for 11.8 seconds, so let's see if we can drop in with Brandon. See if we can find him here. Hey, Brandon, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
I gotcha.
So you come out of pit road first with just an 11-second stop. Can I assume that it wasn't 4 tires?
Yeah, it was no tires. I didn't mean to take 4 tires the very first stop. So just to have an extra set left in the pits, I just wanted to be safe, and tires don't really matter too much here. So I'm actually, you heard it here first, I'm actually going to go back into the pits here to top off with fuel, because being the lead pack, I don't think you can make it on one, or being the leader, I don't think you can make it on one stop. So this is just my plan to just save tires, and then I was going to come back in here to top her off.
Yeah, I was talking to the fans before the race started, and I said, you know, with 4 sets of tires, you think, oh, geez, that's really not a lot. But here at a place like Talladega, tires don't mean as much, you know, as the people around you. I mean, maybe at first in the beginning of a run, but once those tires kind of scrub themselves a little bit, everybody's equal anyway.
Absolutely. It's all about who you're working with and if everybody can hold a stable line. That's pretty much it. Tires definitely don't mean anything. I mean, a fresh set of tires always feels good, but it's not necessary here.
No, I totally agree. Well, listen, congrats on getting yourself up to where you were, and listen, good luck the rest of the way. I just happened to see it and had to ask.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, it was definitely strategy there. I knew I was going to come back in to top off anyways. I didn't really want to be out in the lead. I thought a few people might have stayed out, or not stayed out, but took no tires. And then as soon as I saw I was the leader, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely coming back in. I don't want to be up here.
Yeah, there were only a few of you who came in for fuel only, and I'll tell you what, the drivers that came in fuel only were also the ones that, you know, started at the back to keep it clean. So obviously you guys all know something that everybody else doesn't.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty tight on fuel here, but we'll make it work. Just try to save a little bit. Should be good.
All right, brother. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, I appreciate it, Dave.
And of course, the voice of Brandon Minto from Ferda Motorsports. And, you know, something tells me, folks, after watching him all season long, that he may be starting at the end of the line here, but we're going to see him up toward the front as the night wears on, as we're going to have just about 55 laps to go once the green flag flies again. The iRacing.com pace car peeling down pit road. That's going to put control of the field into the hands of Sylvain Joly, who's going to lead us back here into the very beginning of the racetrack. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand. Everybody waiting and excited for stage number 3 to be underway. As they get into the Geico restart zone, Joly hits the loud pedal, and we are back underway. Joly got an incredible jump over the rest of the field. The problem is at a place like Talladega, you don't want a jump over the rest of the field, because that's going to enable drivers like Jared Ferreira and Aaron Mack to draft up behind you. As we get ready to check in with our YouTube.com live chat, Gregory Valet says, "Let's go King Raymond." So I don't know what he's the king of, but right now he's the king of second place. Right now, the Pied Piper of Talladega is Sylvain Joly. Came all the way down here from Canada to show everybody how to get it done in his Toyota Tundra. And, you know, something that we look at every week in this league is how Chevy heavy the under series are, between Xfinity and trucks, it seems like everybody has a bow tie. And tonight, there happens to be 6 Toyotas and just 2 F-150s out of the field. Of course, we are missing my good friend, the Faster Pastor, Stoney Benfield, who usually brings his F-150 pretty strong. So obviously, Stoney taking a break now from the truck series. As side by side goes Aaron Mack and oh, there go. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, Steve Herring not going to be happy. Looks like Matt White involved. Oh no! We'll see what happened there. As it looks like maybe some over-aggressive driving early on in Stage 3 may have been the cause here. Looks like it may have started with the 23 of Sean Kelly. Here we go. And watch the 23. He makes contact with Matt White in the 48. And from there, it's just, a disaster. Just 3 trucks affected. Everybody smart enough to get away from the wreckage. But definitely not. We're going to take a look here from above in the chopper cam. As we see Brandon Minto avoid the mayhem. Looks like Channing Ballou went down to get out of the way. And fortunately, those 3 drivers, the only ones affected by this mess. As Sean Kelly back out on the track. We stayed green through all of that. Sylvain Joly leading this piece through the tri-oval on lap number 49. We're just about halfway through this piece. He's going to bring along Gabriel Lafreniere on the outside. Zach Osborne in the 16. Two Canadians leading this piece right now, Sylvain Joly and Gabriel Lafreniere. Ray Ferreira in 3rd, Zach Osborne in 4th. Those front 4 have control of the field. Things getting a little dicey here on lap number 50. We're halfway through this piece. As Sylvain Joly being pushed around by Ray Ferreira leads this piece. Looks like things have calmed down for a little while, as maybe everybody realizing it's time to tuck in and go side by side. And folks, we're going to encourage you right now to turn it up here on Sim Racing Media. During our Turn It Up segment here, it looks like Zach Osborne just blew his engine. We're going to see if we can run this back real quick. As all of you, of course, saw that live. Fortunately, Osborne had the... he brings Tony Bird in with it. We're going to go back live and continue to let you folks turn it up here. Gabriel Lafreniere, your race leader, as we have a little bit of an interesting time there as Osborne blew up. Ray Ferreira leading us through the field now as he and Gabriel Lafreniere side by side across the start-finish line yet again. We're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. You're listening to the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series live on YouTube.com Sim Racing Media in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast.
Imagine a theater experience so real you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway. Dave Riegel in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. Ray Ferreira, your new race leader. He's followed by Gabriel Lafreniere and Sylvain Joly, as most of this field has now gone single file. Everybody deciding maybe the double file approach was starting to get a little too dangerous, so that's going to set us up here with 40 to go now at the stripe. And that'll set up some interesting moves because, although it may look like nobody's trying to make a move, this is where now you're starting to talk to your teammates. This is where you're starting to say, okay, when do we want to start trying to make our move? The first two stages you were able to sit there and experiment a little bit. And now you're at that stage in the race where you're waiting to save the rest for this end stage here. A couple of drivers waiting for a caution, of course, to see if they can come in for fuel, because now they know that they can or can't make it, while Ron Fitting is out here all by his lonesome, thinking he's suddenly going to make it interesting. Fitting not close enough to try to side draft anybody. As Chris Claude once again changing his paint scheme this week, as now he's in the number 10 KFC finger-licking good Toyota Tundra. He follows Jeff Carson in his Toyota Tundra, so a pair of Toyotas. Then we get to Brandon Minto, who usually is in a Ford Mustang in the Xfinity Series, driving a Chevrolet Silverado this evening. Here in the Truck Series, Randall Watkins out of Miami, Florida. He's running in 5th position, Aaron Mack in 4th, Sylvain Joly in 3rd, Gabriel Lafreniere in 2nd. And like I said, leading this race from New Smyrna Beach, Florida, is Mr. Jared Ferreira. I've got to get used to saying Jared, even though that he's got Ray listed. Looks like Tony Burke going to be cradled here between Channing Ballou and Jeremy Paris, who both have good trucks. They just haven't been able to get caught back up to the pack after some earlier incidents. So now Tony able to push Jeremy Paris. As long as he can stay there, they can start trying to make some hay. And they've got about 22 seconds to Ron Fitting. So as long as these three trucks stay together, Tony's trying to hold it together, but oof. He's able to bump Jeremy as he gets a bump from Channing. And then all the way up here to Ron Fitting, who's now fallen off from the pack as he was trying to do it himself. Found out that he couldn't. Now Chris Claude's starting to lose some of that lead pack, as now they've gone side by side yet again. On the high side is Jeff Carson and Brandon Minto. As Carson and Minto look to make a move here on these lead drivers, it looks like Fitting thinks that he can maybe try to catch up along with them. He may have a little bit too much distance though. We'll have to keep an eye. Claude Furlan getting out of the way of this pack. Because right now this pack just 9 strong. Originally we had 9 cars, 3 wide. Earlier on in this race, but Talladega did what Talladega does. And they left us here with 9 cars in this lead pack. Ray Ferreira leading us down the backstretch. He has control of this field right now and currently holding on to it with an iron grip with now 35 to go here on lap number 66. Brandon Minto still trying to mount a charge here on the outside line. Now he's got Ron Fitting in tow behind Jeff Carson. And they are slowly but surely starting to chip away here on the outside line. They're suddenly making it work. So obviously now that they've got that momentum running for them, they've just got to get the right air combination here. And, you know, the way that these trucks drive, you know, I think we're going to see some interesting moves. Even if Brandon Minto wanted to side draft against Sylvain Joly or Gabriel Lafreniere, as it looks like he's trying to do, if he can claw his way past one at a time and get a push from Jeff Carson, they can really make it work here coming down the backstretch as Carson now hooked onto the rear bumper of Minto. And as they come into 3, Carson's going to have to back off a little bit. But that does nothing but allows him to load up more energy in the number 9 Toyota Tundra. Jeff Carson and Brandon Minto bring along Ron Fitting on the top side. Ray Ferreira is still being used as a fuel pig by Gabriel Lafreniere and Sylvain Joly. Ferreira just hopping out of line as if he couldn't hold it together. That's going to allow the 27 of Randall Watkins to maybe try to squeeze himself in here. As Gabriel still pushing Ray Ferreira down through here onto the backstretch. Those 3 trucks very strong here on the low side. Once again, we can see Minto starting to try to claw his way up using a little bit of side draft here and then a push from Jeff Carson as it's almost like claw, push, claw, push. We can start to see the 2 of them working together now with just over 30 laps to go here as we're on lap number 69 of 100. And we're going to have to start to see some of these drivers consider whether or not to come down for fuel as a lot of them not sure if they can make it now. Brandon Minto came down to top off the field. That should increase his probability of getting to the end. And right now, a lot of drivers on race radio talking about whether or not they can make it on their current fuel situation. Ron Fitting stopping for fuel now as he's down pit road. Sean Kelly's been on pit road now for the last 17 minutes. As now Ferreira, Lafreniere, and Joly are starting to pull away. They get around Claude Furlan, who now takes the high side to get out of the way of the main pack. And all of a sudden, all of the leaders coming down pit road. It's going to be Lafreniere, Ferreira, Joly, Mack, Watkins, Carson, Minto, and Claude. All 8 of the top drivers coming down pit road right now. That's going to allow Claude Furlan to try to get at least one of his laps back. Jeremy Paris, Tony Burt, Channing Ballou, John Wilco, Rich Jett, and Ron Fitting still on track. And Fitting just came down as now they're going to get ready to roll off a pit road. Chris Claude having some trouble getting into the box. Looks like he's got left side tires only. That's an interesting decision. If it was a decision or not a mistake. As he rolls off, all of these drivers being led now by the 08 of Sylvain Joly. They've all come down pit road. Ray Ferreira down pit road. That means Ballou, Burt, and Paris are going to have an angry pack of Hornets behind them, with probably only a few laps left until they run dry. probably be coming down on 74 or 75. But Ray Ferreira going to be our race leader once again once Paris, Burt, and Ballou come down pit road, as now they can all make it the rest of the way. Paris, Burt, and Ballou still out in front. We should start to see them consider coming down any second now. What'll be interesting is if we have a late caution, whether or not we get to see Ferreira, Jolie, Paris, Burt, and Ballou if we see Paris, Burt, and Ballou come down pit road now, they're going to have a little bit of fresher tires and a little bit more fuel to be a little bit wasteful. Of course, many of our drivers right now running the fastest laps they have. And here goes Paris, Ballou, and Burt. Looks like Tony Burt getting right side tires. He's waiting for that fuel to finish going in there. Rights only for the 4, and out comes the 588 and 4. And then cycling back up to the lead is Gabriel Lafreniere. He now has Brandon Minto running in second position. Aaron Mack, Sylvain Jolie, they run third, fourth, and now Jeff Carson stealing fourth position away as we are at 26 to go this time by. Now John Wilco and Rich Jett coming down pit road, as they will be the last drivers here on the lead lap to come down for pit service. An interesting choice, if you will. As the field comes out of turn number 4, that's going to allow John Wilco and Rich Jett to come off of pit road without losing their laps. And as long as they can stay together, they can stay ahead of this field of lead lap cars and not losing. 25 to go here at the stripe, as it's Lafreniere, Minto, Mack, Carson, Watkins, Jolie, Ferreira, Claude, Paris, and Ballou, your top 10. As Ballou and Jeremy Paris are working together here, Tony Burt kind of all by his lonesome, as he was not able to catch up to Ballou and Paris on their way out of pit road. Well, folks, I would be remiss if I didn't do the following. I'm going to pull up the old Hulu live stream. As right now, my Philadelphia Phillies in the bottom of the 6th inning with 1 out. lead the Miami Marlins in the first game of the NL Wild Card Series 3-0. As Bryson Stott is at bat, we're going to do a little play-by-play here, radio style. Bryson Stott with the 1-0 count looks at ball 2 high and outside at Citizens Bank Park in South Philadelphia. Of course, this is just about the most magical time of year. We've got baseball playoffs, NASCAR playoffs, hockey season starts next week, football season is underway, and wow, a little chin music there for Bryson Stott as it's now 3-0 on the young man. Originally drafted by the Phillies, came through our farm system in Philadelphia. Played in the Gulf Coast League, came to AA Reading, made the jump to the majors, and what? Sorry, folks. Low and outside for what should have been ball 4 was called a strike. Maybe the umpire was drinking. I don't know. Hopefully VisionWorks is a sponsor here. And now with a foul tip, it's now a full count on Stott. But I mean, baseball playoffs are a magical time. So is it. Is even out. You can check it out on ESPN2 right now. The Arizona Diamondbacks lead the Milwaukee Brewers 4-3 in the top of the 7th inning. Soriano gets ready to work from the stretch. And Stott is popped up into left center field. 2 down for the Phillies, but they still lead 3-0 here in the bottom of the 6th. With Brandon Marsh on his way to the plate. I'm sorry, folks. I have to tell you, I mean, as much as I love NASCAR and racing, baseball is where my heart lives from February through November. Meanwhile, Gabriel Lafreniere and Brandon Minto still atop the pile. Aaron Mack threatening here with Jeff Carson running in 3rd and 4th. .21 to go at Talladega Superspeedway. And as I mentioned earlier, this track was, of course, dominated by a fella named Earnhardt. Actually, 2 fellas named Earnhardt. The most wins here are held by Dale Sr. with 10. The most consecutive wins here are held by my favorite driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr., who I'll get to see in 2 weeks down in Miami when Sim Racing Media heads to the Sunshine State. The most top 5s belong to Dale Earnhardt at 23. The most top 10s belong to Dale Earnhardt at 27. The most starts are Dave Marcus and Terry Labonte, while the most poles are held by Awesome Bill Elliott. Oddly enough, the most laps completed at Talladega belong to Michael Waltrip at 10,181, while the most laps led are held by Dale at 1,377. So obviously a lot of Earnhardt legacy there, as the lap records are even more interesting. Now, the Cup Series record belongs to Parker Kligerman, who back in 2019 laid down a 46.530 second lap. The Xfinity Series is held by front row Joe Nemechek back in 2018 at 48.695. And the Truck Series record is held by none other than 2014 Daytona 500 winner and former driver here in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series, Trevor Bayne, back in 2020. So Trevor Bayne obviously pretty successful there. Many drivers have won their first race of their careers here at Talladega, which is why I personally was hoping for Chris Claude to finally notch that on his belt buckle. But a lot of drivers got their first win ever here at Talladega. And they include a lot of big names like, Davey Allison, Phil Parsons, Kenny Schrader, Brian Vickers, Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., and Bubba Wallace. So that's, to me, that's exciting. So is, of course, this racetrack also part of the title of Ricky Bobby Talladega Nights. Of course, a great comedy movie featuring John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell. $18 to go now here at Talladega, 2.66 miles. We started talking about it a little earlier, but we can get into it right now. During the 60s, Big Bill France wanted to build a track that was faster and longer than his original Daytona International Speedway. And he tried to get, a little bit of help in North Carolina, where he originally had planned to build it, like the Research Triangle near Raleigh, or he looked around Atlanta and Charlotte, Greenville, South Carolina. But ultimately, he wound up between Atlanta and Birmingham along I-20. And with the support of infamous Governor George Wallace, Bill France broke ground on an old airfield just outside of Birmingham. And, of course, originally this track was named Alabama International Speedway. And that would be around for about 20 years until 1989, when the facility's name was changed to Talladega Superspeedway. And a lot of these drivers, there was a situation at the very first race here, because of how fast this track was. Drivers were afraid that the tires weren't going to hold up here on the asphalt of Talladega. And at the first racetrack, the original drivers, aside from Bobby Isaac, Richard Brickhouse, and Jim Van Diver, they all abandoned the track due to tire problems, which forced Bill France to get substitute drivers, and the winner wound up being Richard Brickhouse. After that first race, the Talladega Superspeedway hosted 2 Cup Series races a year, one of which would become part of the 10-race Cup Series, which we're in right now. And obviously, after they made some improvements to the tires, the drivers were more comfortable and, of course, began coming here twice a year. So that's exciting to think that, at first, drivers thought that this place was just too darn fast. Ray Ferreira is still your race leader, followed by Gabriel Lafreniere and Brandon Minto, your top 3. They're holding the bottom line, while Randall Watkins is trying to mount an attack here with Aaron Mack in tow, as Mack just swung it out wide, maybe to back off the rear bumper of Watkins' F-150. And now we can see Mack starting to slide in and get ready to give him another whack from the bumper, as he doesn't get close enough to actually make contact for the bump draft to work. Meanwhile, Chris Claude running back in 13th position. He's trailing a little threesome of cars with John Wilco and Rich Jett, bookending Tony Burt. So Burt has found 2 other drivers to cradle him as they're chasing down Channing Ballou and Jeremy Paris. And believe me, if we get a late caution, we're going to see all bets being off, as we're at 14 to go. Lafreniere, Watkins, and Ferreira leading this race, with Randall Watkins threatening here on the high side. Ferreira and Lafreniere bring us through the tri-oval once again. 14 and will be 13 to go. At this point, there's drivers praying for the big one to happen so that they can thin the field out. Some race chatter going on as there's people begging for a caution. Chris Claude now going a lap down. As John Wilco and Rich Jett still cradling Tony Burt, these three drivers here in 10th, 11th, and 12th all trying to make it work here. And we'll take a look once again at our season standings. Wilco is still a playoff driver, so he's going to need some help here to stay in, as of course coming up here on the schedule, looking ahead. Next week, actually the next 2 weeks, the Truck Series will be off, so we won't be back until the 24th of October when they race at Homestead, Miami. Of course, I'll be fresh back from visiting Homestead, Miami with the rest of my SRM family, as we will be going on our yearly retreat down there. The Stacy Strong Cup Series this coming Sunday night, going to be at the Bank of America Roval up in Charlotte. And of course, also next Monday night, right here on Sim Racing Media, as I pull that schedule up, they will the Xfinity Series will also be at the Roval. Now Tony Burt stepping out of line as he's got to cool off the 4. A little bit of race chatter here as Tony Burt was close to about 280 degrees on the thermometer in the number 4. They had to let it breathe for a little bit. Checking back in on the Phillies game. Phillies still leading 7-3 in the top of the 7th inning with an out and a man on. In scoring position for Miami. The Marlins in the regular season had 16 wins when entering the 7th inning. When trailing entering the 7th inning, which ties their franchise record, which of course was back in 1997 when they won the World Series. And Zach Wheeler throws a 4-seam fastball and collects his 8th strikeout of the evening, while meanwhile up in Milwaukee, Diamondbacks still leading the Brewers 4-3 at Miller Park. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight here as we have 10 laps to go in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series. Live on Sim Racing Media, Dave Riegel in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth. One last time, we're going to step aside and pay some bills here on Sim Racing Media. I want to thank you for making us a part of your evening as we're getting ready for the most exciting time of the night, the last 10.
Imagine a theater experience so real, you're part of the action. Breakthrough technology that shakes your seat at precisely the right moment so you can feel the action on the screen. Choose 4D Cinemas powered by Butt Kicker for the ultimate theater experience. And for the ultimate in movies, gaming, and sports at home, add your own Butt Kicker. A simple, wireless, affordable device that takes just seconds to install. Text the word on the screen right now to receive a special offer. Get Butt Kicker and feel what you've been missing.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway, where we are 5 to go now. Looks like all things are being settled out, but there's still plenty of racing to go. This is really where the race begins with 5 to go. There's going to be several drivers now trying to realign themselves. Brandon Mitchell bringing along Sylvain Joly, Aaron Mack, and Randall Watkins. Ray Ferreira, our race leader, he's being followed right now by Gabriel Lafreniere. They're about to be challenged, by Brandon Minto. Jeff Carson holding on to third position right now. He's got to decide whether or not to swing out and block off Brandon Minto or stay in line here. And right now he can't go anywhere, as that's going to be the driver we're going to have to keep an eye on. As now Minto going to take away third position from Carson. Everybody else pretty much settled out. You can throw a blanket over 7th through 12th. But Jeff Carson now looking like he wants to start to turn it on, as he has been so patient all season long. He's pretty much in the best position he's been in to get a win this year, as long as he can get that tailgate just in front of Minto now with 3 to go. Three laps to go. Sylvain Joly now pushing Brandon Minto down the backstretch. Jeff Carson trying to get a shove from Aaron Mack. He's going to suck up right to the rear bumper of the Oxmoor 06 driven by Gabriel Lafreniere, as Ferreira still leading this piece. Carson nearly brushing Minto away as they come out of 4 again. There are popsicle sticks in the air as they come through the tri-oval. We are 2 to go. Here comes Carson making the move. Oh, he's blocked off by Lafreniere. Lafreniere going to bring Carson along. That lets Watkins in here. Now, all of a sudden, Carson going for the lead. He's pushed along by Brandon Minto. They leave the Oxmoor Chevrolet out to dry, as Minto going to push Carson down through turn 3. They may have made the move too soon, as now the 18 of Ray Ferreira, who proved that he can lead this race, is shoving Gabriel Lafreniere up to the front. They come into the tri-oval. One more time, the popsicle sticks go down. The white flag is in the air. We are racing back to checkers. Brandon Minto pushing Jeff Carson, hoping that they can get a little bit of help from Joly, as now Carson side drafting the 18. He's got the 06 loose in front of him. That shuffles him out of the way. That may change things for Carson, who's now back into 4th position. Minto running away from Carson. Lafreniere now takes control of the lead all of a sudden away from Ray Ferreira. Carson falling back into 7th position. The battle's still hot and heavy here with Aaron Mack in 3rd position. Now without that 3rd truck. As we come back to the start-finish line, here it comes. Through the tri-oval, Gabriel Lafreniere leading this pack. The Canadian from Saint-Jude crosses the start-finish line and wins here at Talladega Superspeedway in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series, followed by Ray Ferreira and Aaron Mack here on Sim Racing Media. Brandon Minto finishing in 4th, Sylvain Joly in 5th. Rounding out the top 5, Randall Watkins, Jeff Carson, Jeremy Paris, Channing Ballou, and John Wilco make up your top 10. As Lafreniere gets a congratulatory bump from Ferreira as they come back to the start-finish line. As we get a chance now to talk with our race winner, our neighbor from the north in Saint Jude, Gabriel Lafreniere. It's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yes, I got you.
Congratulations on the win. If you were going to win, this was the place to do it at. How are you feeling tonight in the 06 Oxmoor F-150?
Really nice race. Jared did a really good job at the end. I know I can't got a push by Minto, so I stay in the low line with Jared.
Yeah, you definitely held that low line very well. I mean, you know, Ferreira pushing behind you is what absolutely kept you up in the lead. I mean, you know, with 2 to go, it was still anybody's race, and you managed to come out the victor. I mean, you know, how was that truck all night long? Were you making adjustments, or were you just trying to be patient?
Just try to survive, stay patient, and stay maximum possible in front. Yes, that's the strategy.
Yep, that's definitely the secret to getting around Talladega, that's for sure. Be patient, try to stay safe, and see how lucky you can get. And lucky you are. I mean, you know, here we are deeper into the playoffs as we get ready to go road racing, or I'm sorry, as we get ready for a couple of weeks off. Now, going into the off weeks. What's that?
Homestead, the next race.
Yeah, you'll be going to Homestead for the next race. Now, how are you feeling about going to Homestead?
It's not my best track, so I will play again safe race and try to help my teammate to get the win.
I mean, with this win, you automatically transfer into that Final Four, you know, getting ready for the deep part here of the playoffs. Now that you're in the Championship 4, do you think maybe you take a little bit of a breather here or no?
Yes, I will take a breathe and help my teammate try to prepare myself for the final. That's it.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations. And before we cut you loose, who do you need to thank and shout out tonight?
Thanks to you, the broadcasts, my teammate, Sylvain and Claude, and Oxmoor Microbrasserie.
All right, buddy. Well, listen, congratulations, and we will see you in 3 weeks at Homestead.
Thanks. Good night.
That, of course, the voice of our race winner, Mr. Gabriel Lafreniere, our neighbor from the north. But second place here on the podium is Jared Ferreira. Hey, Jared, it's Dave up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, listen, a hard-fought battle here at the end. You know, maybe you had enough, but you were kind of boxed in by that high line. How was that battle coming to checkers?
Well, Gabriel caught me off guard when he made that move to get around me. I thought he was gonna stay committed, and then once he got by me, I figured I may as well commit to pushing him because I didn't want to mess anything up for any of the playoff guys making a dumb move or trying to win it.
Yeah, that's definitely something that, everybody tries to do or not do. You don't want to mess somebody up, but at the same time, you still want to put yourself in the best position to bring home the checkered flag yourself. But, you made the good sport. If anybody wants to give you the good sportsman award, I'll co-sign that all night long.
I'd be lying if I told you I didn't think about it.
Oh, everybody thinks about it. That goes without asking, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, listen, congratulations on the second place finish on the podium tonight. Who do you need to tip your cap to?
I gotta thank all my guys at Gorilla Gas, Blackhawk Motorsports for helping build the setups, and then gotta thank everyone that runs them. I don't know if Gabriel was on them, but I know Sylvain was, and then also Tony was, and then thanks for Fast.
Absolutely. All right, buddy. Well, listen, we'll see you in a few weeks down at Homestead, Miami. And if anything, congratulations again on your second place finish.
Thank you.
Last but certainly not least, our 2023 Spring Daytona winner, Aaron Mack, here in the broadcast booth. Hey, Aaron, it's Dave. You got me?
Hey, Dave. What's going on?
Not much. I mean, Fort Riley's got to be proud of you tonight after at least finishing here on the podium. A hard-fought battle all night long on the low line. How was that truck feeling for you?
It was actually feeling amazing. After several open races to get it tuned in, and it was fast, even getting caught up in that first wreck there.
Yeah, when you got caught up in the first wreck, I thought, well, that's going to slow you down, but it almost seems like it made you more strong.
It did. It was about a minute 15 worth of damage there, and the crew guys did amazing to get me back up there.
Well, the crew, almost all the time should get some of the credit, especially, when you get that damage. And at a place like this, it seems like no matter how much you get it fixed, sometimes it's never as good as it was. Obviously, Zach Osborne bit the big one late in the race there, blowing up out of nowhere. You were susceptible to that too.
I don't think I had that much engine damage, if any, unlike him. Unfortunately, he was on the outside where I was on the inside of him, so I heard the big pop and on my outside there, and I actually thought it was Chris that blew up.
Yeah, that definitely could have been a lot worse. I know when you're in the pack and you hear that, you're looking around and you're thinking, oh, God, is this the one?
Right, exactly.
Well, especially traveling at that kind of speed, when somebody pops like that, you've only got about a split second to make the decision, and obviously you came out lucky on that end. But congratulations on the third place finish. You still managed to push yourself, further and further here on the season. What are you thinking as we head, in 3 weeks down to Homestead, Miami?
Just got to have clean racing and being able to finish. These playoff drivers, they're tough. they're definitely no joke.
No, there's a reason that they're in the playoffs, trust me.
Oh, exactly.
But, well, look, congratulations on the third place finish. Who do you need to tip your cap to and shout out tonight?
Well, for one, baseball talk. Minnesota Twins won tonight.
Yeah, check that out. I was giving everybody a little bit of a play-by-play update for the Phillies in South Philly.
So I'm actually a Minnesota Twins fan, so they played the Blue Jays today, and they pulled it out after 18 years.
Look, something good has to come out for the Twins. I mean, every now and then when I look at the baseball playoffs, and don't get me wrong, baseball, because of how regional it is, sometimes you're not paying attention to, for instance, for me, paying attention to the AL Central, but or the AL West. But,
exactly.
But I can tell you exactly what's going on in Miami for some reason, But, yeah, congrats to your Twins, and, maybe something good will happen in round two.
So it was definitely a good day. Finishing P3. I was actually talking with Randall, and he was a huge help tonight. Matt was definitely a huge help as well. Great pushing. I definitely want to tip my cap off to those guys. So,
All right, my man. Well, listen, congratulations, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks down at Homestead, Miami.
all right, sounds good, Dave. Thank you.
Thank you. As that will round up our podium interviews tonight here in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series race at Talladega Superspeedway. Always glad to have everybody with us week in and week out. As so often throughout the season, we see different drivers make it into victory lane, and here at Talladega, no different. As we got to see Gabriel Lafreniere punch his ticket to the championship 4 out in Arizona. So you'll have to forgive me, folks. Had a little bit of pizza with some red sauce on it for dinner, and it's causing a little bit of indigestion on top of everything else I've got going on. So sorry about that. But, here's the thing. As we get deeper into the season, with just 2 races to go, of course, in 3 weeks, we'll be at Homestead, Miami. Then that final week there in November at Phoenix, as we go to championship weekend, we're going to see this competition heat up. I mean, the trucks don't go racing, at the road course, which, believe me, is a blessing in and of itself. But when we come back in a couple of weeks to Homestead, Miami, it's going to be exciting to see all of that excitement build up and manifest itself in some great racing here in the Jack Dowel Simulators and eSports iRacing.com Truck Series. And one last look here at our final results for the evening. 19 cars took the green flag. Not everybody made it across, but at the checkers. But Gabriel Lafreniere brings home the checkered flag. He is joined on the podium by Ray Ferreira and Aaron Mack. Brandon Minto finishes in 4th with Sylvain Jolie in 5th. Randall Watkins finishes in 6th with Jeff Carson, Jeremy Paris, Channing Ballou, and John Wilco from McAdoo, Pennsylvania, rounding out your top 10. Rich Jett and Tony Burt finish in 11th and 12th, while Chief Cook and Bottle Washer of the SNN Cup Series, Chris Claude, finishes in 13th. Ron Fitting finishes in 14th, with Claude Furland finishing in 15th. Zach Osborne, Sean Kelly, and Matt White finished 16th, 17th, and 18th, respectively, while finishing last on the timing and scoring tonight, Mr. Steve Herring from All Smiles Racing. I'll tell you what, the All Smiles Racing team still very strong, as it features Herring, Wilco, and Jett, and those drivers, they say all smiles and they mean it. They have some of the greatest attitudes that I've ever seen out here on the racetrack. So good for them tonight, as just basically, if you think about it, 12 cars finishing on the lead lap, but we started with 19, so that's still pretty good here in the Truck Series. So for everybody here at Sim Racing Media, I want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. Make sure that you remember that we're not here the next 2 weeks, but we'll be here on that 3rd week featuring Homestead, Miami. Of course, those of us from Sim Racing Media will just be returning from the actual race itself, so very excited to try to bring that experience to you through the microphone. And once again, want to thank you for making us a part of your evening. Without you folks at home watching us, we'd have nobody to talk to. And as you go through your day tomorrow, remember that you're special, you're unique, and that's fine by me. Good night, everybody.